Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios. My name is Marc Farzy. Nice to have you along. Joel Embiid dominates. Flyers get postponed. And your boy loses some money on Alabama. Thanks, Nick Saban. Thanks, Stetson Bennett. Stetson. Yeah, that's I never referenced him on the show before, but that is a name and a half. Stetson Bennett. Good for him. What a bounce back for him last night after throwing the fumble in the football. It went to review. They said it was a fumble, and Bama gets a touchdown. You're thinking, oh, this walk on this poor guy. And then, boom, he throws a bomb down the sideline, and that's you saw from him. Anyway, yeah, your boy lost some money on that game last night. We'll get into that a little bit later. But let's talk about, and let's start things off with Joel Embiid. We also have Eagles conversation, as one would assume, with them being in the playoffs. Adam Kaplan will join the show from Inside the Birds podcast. Adam Kaplan does a show with Jeff Mosher, as Moshe likes to refer to it as the Empire, the Inside the Birds Empire. So we'll get all that and more with Adam Kaplan when it comes to breaking down the Eagles. But I do want to start it off with Joel Embiid, because when you set a franchise record, you get your own post on social media. And this is what the Sixers put together for Joel Embiid. Most consecutive 30-point road games in franchise history, totaling out there at 9 for him. 9 straight road games with 30 or more points as he dominated again last night in the 76ers win over the Houston Rockets. In case you didn't see the game, 111-91. Sixers also covered, so I won money on them last night, so it wasn't as bad as I'm alluding to. But anyway, Sixers win last night, 111-91. Joel Embiid, 31 points, 9 of 16 from the floor, 13 of 13 from the free throw line. Not too bad. Also to go along with 8 rebounds for him last night. So it was a nice little game for the Sixers. Joel Embiid, just his dominant self. There is... just a couple of games ago, it seems like, there was a change in Joel Embiid. You haven't seen him shoot as many threes. You haven't really even seen him shoot that many mid-range shots from last night even. What he has done over the last couple of weeks is go hard to the basket. About a month ago, I remember doing a show where I was talking about how you can't tell Joel Embiid not to shoot threes anymore. That's the way he plays the game, and he's good at it, so let him do it. Now, I'm not looking for him to shoot 10 threes a game or anything ridiculous. He shoots 4, fine. That's fine. What he has done is gotten away from that part of of his game. And he has almost appeased the people that have been yelling for JoJo to get under the basket. You're a center. Get under the basket. Post up. Get on the block. All that. He has done that. He has gone from, I know people always like to say that he tries to play like a guard. You're not a guard. Get under there. I think the perfect analogy for Joel Embiid is like a 1990s era small forward. Like he's almost like a Penny Hardaway type of player more than anybody. But that's the way he plays, and that's the way he can play because he's that good an athlete. But watching Joel Embiid play over the last couple of weeks, he has gone from that small forward 90s era basketball player to that dominant center that we saw so often in the 90s. That's what he has become more so than anything over the last couple of weeks of the season. 9 games, at least. That's the way he has played over the last month. I am enjoying this version of Joel Embiid. And it's hard to not look at Joel Embiid on a basketball court and go, oh, this is just so impressive. This is so entertaining. And what do I do the appreciation posts or the appreciation rants about Joel Embiid? Add this to the list for how he is playing. It's a different brand of basketball, though, for him. He is just choosing to be aggressive. He is choosing to go to the rim, get fouled, go to the line, and go 13 for 13 from the free throw line as he's on his way to a 17-point first quarter like he was last night. And it's all about being aggressive. It's all about attacking the rim. It's all about getting fouled and going to the line. I can take that brand over and over and over again. I can take the other brand, too, where he's doing the mid-range thing. He's doing the three-point thing. All right, you do your thing. But it just shows you how versatile a player he can be. Last night, and Doc Rivers talked about this after the game, last night, you go into this game without Tyrese Maxey, without Seth Curry. You need some guys to step up. You know you're not going to have dominant guard play. So Joel Embiid basically does the basketball equivalent to running the football. He just goes hard to the rim. In the NFL, you run the football, you try to kill clock, you try to dominate every possession, all that, every play. Joel Embiid did the same thing every time he was down the court. It was pretty impressive last night to see the way that he attacked. And Doc Rivers did speak about it after the game. This is what he said, most notably because you didn't have Seth Curry, you didn't have Tyrese Maxey last night.
And we had to have that tonight. We didn't have much of a pick and roll game without our guards. Couldn't run a lot of second action without our guards. So, we really were a first action team tonight. And then we had to read after that. And I thought Joel, again, I just thought he set the tone. On a night like tonight, you have a lot of guys out. You're playing a team that's struggling right now. You can't come in here and mess around. And I thought Joe was very serious to start the game. And I thought that was big for us.
For Joel Embiid. Serious, determined, and wanting to get to the rim. You look at last night, he shot 1-3. And pretty much everything he did last night was either in the paint or just outside the paint. And that's the aggressive version of Joel Embiid you want to see night in and night out. I think that's the most consistent style you can see from Joel Embiid. The only negative of that style is when you watch Joel Embiid attack so many times, some people still have it in the back of their minds. A guy that's missed a lot of time with injury throughout his career. When's the hit coming? When's he going to hit the floor? When's somebody going to take him down? When's something going to like that going to happen? I try to dispel all that from my memory. They're not happening. He's fine. He's going to be okay. And he's going to keep it on like he's been over the last couple of games. So let's last couple of games. 9 straight road games, 7 straight games overall, 30-plus points. Keep it coming, Joel Embiid. Also last night, Charlie Brown. That's a real name of a 76er. It's from our area. Charlie Brown Jr. Has impressed me. Quick hands defensively. Eager to get out on breaks, converting turnovers into points as well. Had an interesting little exchange last night with Porter where I think he forced the steal, if memory serves me correctly, and then he runs the length of the court, and he had an easy layup or a dunk, and Porter comes out of nowhere and just throws a shoulder into him, ends up getting the technical for that or flagrant for that. And Charlie Brown Jr. ended up hitting the free throw, which was nice. He had to come back onto the court. He was being taken out. Had to come back on the court, hit it. So it was good to at least see him convert those points. Sixers back in action tomorrow night, 7 o'clock tip-off against the Charlotte Hornets in South Philadelphia. So we'll see if Joel Embiid can keep, let's see now, make it 8 games with 30 or more points. As I mentioned earlier, the Flyers got postponed last night. They were supposed to drop the puck with the Canes. They did not. That game has been postponed for tonight. It was supposed to happen tonight, and that game got postponed. So hopefully the Flyers are back in action before we know it. It was on the Flyers' end with COVID. So we will hope that game gets rescheduled, obviously, and we hope that the Flyers are able to play their next game. So we'll see when that happens. Let's get into this conversation with Nick Sirianni yesterday. And I also got a little theory. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm rooting for it to happen. But Nick Sirianni addressed the media yesterday where he talked about a whole bunch of things. And one of the things that he got into was Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard. And rather than just explain it to you, I'll let the coach try to talk you into this about whether or not they're going to have Miles Sanders back and Jordan Howard back by this kickoff come Sunday at 1 o'clock against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first round of the playoffs, the wild card round. Here is Nick Sirianni talking about their running backs and whether or not they'll be ready.
We're hopeful for Miles this week. Again, that's why we didn't put him on IR, way back when he did have the hand injury. So we're hopeful for him. We're hopeful for Jordan this week in Boston and Kenny. So we have I think we'll have our full stable of backs, and really excited about where our backfield is. I think a lot of teams in this league would like the depth that we have at this position.
If you go back to that Week 6 matchup with the Buccaneers, Miles Sanders ran that ball 9 times. 9 times. That's it. Jalen Hurts had 10 rushing attempts in that game. Miles Sanders, 9 times. He was the only running back to run the football in that game. Now, Nick Sirianni talked yesterday about how Tampa Bay is a much different team because they don't have Chris Godwin, for instance. They don't have Antonio Brown anymore. They got Levante banged up on defense. David. So for me, they're a different team. Eagles are a much different football team when you talk about scheme, when you talk about play calling, when you talk about what they try to do to beat teams on a night in and night out basis. That is 2 teams that are very different. The one thing is an obvious thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're the same team schematically. Eagles are a much different team in terms of what they're leaning on to get them wins, and that's what really got them those wins in the second half of the season. Now, you might say the Eagles are benefiting from a weak schedule. Well, guess what? So are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Eagles played the easiest schedule in the second half of the season, strength of schedule-wise. They played the weakest schedule. And guess who was right behind them? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't beat anybody down the stretch either. The only difference is Tom Brady has beaten plenty of teams throughout his career. One of them is the Eagles once. So one time it was for a Super Bowl. The other time it was them losing to the Eagles in the Super Bowl, as we all remember. It was Tom Brady losing that game. Strip sack, 41-33. We all remember what happened in that game. But how are the Eagles going to win this game if they are going to win this game? Well, they're going to win it by running the football. We talked about this yesterday. If they have Miles Sanders healthy, if they have Jordan Howard healthy, he's a little bit more of a question mark in terms of that stinger. He has played with it. He got the week off. Hopefully he'll be back for this weekend. But Miles Sanders and the hand injury, we made the equation. We highlighted what Nick Sirianni told us a couple of weeks ago about Marlon Mack breaking his hand. He was back 2 weeks later. This will be about 3 weeks for Miles Sanders, so hopefully he gets that opportunity to come back in this game. Same thing with Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell. At least you could say this about the game he had against the Dallas Cowboys. At least he is riding a high as far as confidence goes with how he performed personally in that game. So if it does come down to it, at least you're giving him the ball with I don't want to call it a hot hand and make it over dramatic, but a bit of a hot hand for Kenny Gainwell. But yes, it is going to come down to Miles Sanders hopefully being healthy, and not just healthy enough to play, but healthy enough to be actually Miles Sanders and not be 80% of Miles Sanders. And we all know he's had trouble securing the football. I can't imagine that's going to be any better with a broken hand on the mend. But if it is, hopefully he is out there at 100% and can help this Eagles football team win. The other thing that goes into this is that you're not just going to be handing the football to Miles Sanders and Miles Sanders alone. If you do have Jordan Howard back, if you do have Boston Scott or even Kenny Gainwell, I very much doubt that Miles Sanders is going to be your only running back touching the football in a game like this time around against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So whether you want to talk about whether they have the best run defense in the NFL or a top 3 run defense in the NFL, whether or not they have one of the best defensive coordinators in Todd Bowles when it comes to attacking the run or stopping a mobile quarterback, stopping an elusive quarterback. I mean, look what he did to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl last year. I can only imagine what he's going to do to Jalen Hurts if Jalen Hurts has to be called upon to throw the football 26 times like he did in their original matchup, their first matchup this season. So that was Nick Sirianni talking about his running back group. This was a bit of a whirlwind right here, this question and answer, because Nick Sirianni was asked about Jalen Hurts and what makes you so sure Jalen Hurts is ready for this stage in the playoffs in the NFL. He could have gone the route of Bama. Did I mention Bama? Yeah, they lost me some money. Anyway, he could have gone that route. Didn't so much go that route with this answer, but talked about not just Jalen Hurts' mindset going into this game, the playoffs, but also how as a team, you can't change what you do. What brought you here, you got to almost ride the horse that brung you, as they say. If you're a running team now, if that's the way you won the vast majority of the second half of the games on your schedule in the second half of the season, then you got to stick with being a running team. But Nick Sirianni talked about Jalen Hurts' mindset going into this game, as well as his and the rest of the team.
This is a playoff game, as we know, but we're not going into this game saying this is different than any other game that we play, right? We're not going to tell these guys they got to do something extraordinary to win this football game or extraordinary because it's a playoff game now. No, it's going to take everybody's best effort, but the process remains the same of how we go about our business, right? And that, when it's about the process, when you're process driven and you're results aware, right? Then you don't ride the highs and lows of the season, and that's that not only am I speaking of like highs and lows after a win or a loss, but also highs and lows of what you deem a big game and what you deem a not so big game. They're all big in this league, right? We've been playing playoff games. We didn't have a very, very big margin of error, with the way we started off. So we feel like we've been playing playoff games for last month of the season now. So I know he's ready for the next game, which just so happens to be a playoff game. And he's gonna prepare the same way he has prepared. I know that from the outside it looks like it's a bigger game and everything, but to us, we understand the consequences of losing, and and when you win, like, you're done if you lose, and so we understand that, but our process remains the same through it all, and I'm confident in our process. I'm confident in Jalen's process that he's going to go out and be ready to play in this game.
All right, everyone's confident. Now you just ride that confidence into the playoffs. Then I still would have much rather. I didn't even get asked about this yesterday. Next year, I didn't get asked about this yesterday. I still would rather seeing those starters play in that last game of the season against the Cowboys just to get something going early. I rattled off the numbers for you. Last 4 games, you've scored 3 total points in the first quarter with Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback. You've averaged 5 points in the first half through your last 4 games as Jalen Hurts is starting quarterback. Like, I would have loved to have seen some kind of momentum going into the playoffs where you jump out of the gate a little bit. And who knows, maybe the Eagles will take everyone by surprise. Maybe the first play of this game against the Buccaneers on Sunday at 1 is going to be the old, naked bootleg, roll Jalen Hurts out to the right, bomb the ball down the field to Devontae Smith, touchdown, 7-0 Eagles, first play of the game. Like, Andy Reid did that a couple of times throughout his tenure, especially when they had T.O. here, right? Like, I'd love to see it happen. I'm not betting on it. I'm not counting on it, but just something to jumpstart this offense. Maybe the first play of the game will just be Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard running up the middle, and then you try to set up the pass with the next play. I'd love to see it. I ain't betting on it. I just need to see the Eagles come out of the gate strong on Sunday, and hopefully that'll be a nice change of pace, change of scenery for Eagles fans and give you a little bit more confidence going up against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Eagles right now 9.5-point underdogs still against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a beatable team. They're not perfect. They're far from it. I'm not betting on the Eagles to win, unfortunately, but you have to be able to take advantage of what they're going to give you. And if they're going to give you the opportunity to throw the football, then Jalen Hurts has to go out there and throw the football and help this team win. It's a big challenge. Biggest challenge of Jalen Hurts' career. No question about that. That's obvious. But how will he respond? If they try to put 8 men in the box and scare Sirianni out of the run-first game plan, how will Jalen Hurts respond? It's the biggest test of his career, obviously. How will he respond to that? I've said all year, really midway through the season, that it was all about, well, all year I've been saying that it's Jalen Hurts. It's up to Jalen Hurts to prove that he could at least be the starting quarterback for the Eagles next year. I'd love to see it. I'm rooting for it, obviously. But the one thing that I really am looking forward to is seeing how he stacks up in this test. Because if they're going to be a team that looks at him seriously as the quarterback of not just next year, but the future, it's going to start in this football game. Because if he goes out there and he puts up big passing numbers that he really hasn't put up all season long, like, for instance, the Eagles are the best team in the NFL in running the football. One of the worst teams in the NFL in throwing the football. If you're the quarterback of that team, regardless of your athleticism, you want to see those numbers start to come up. 29th in the NFL in passing? Yeah, that ain't good. Especially if we're trying to base our offense or base our opinion on what you're going to be as a starting quarterback going forward. Never good to see those numbers down there. And I pointed out the example yesterday of the Eagles not throwing the football in one of the red zone attempts against the Washington football team and how that doesn't really look good on Jalen Hurts. So this time around, when he's tested against not just being on the road, but in the playoffs, but also against a defensive coordinator like Todd Bowles and this defense in particular, is he going to be able to rise to the occasion? This is the type of game that turns a lot of people's heads. Even the doubters look at Jalen Hurts and go, oh, well, look at the rushing numbers. He's a terrible quarterback. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback. I think that's taking into account the rushing numbers versus the passing numbers. Because bottom line is the job of a quarterback is to win. And I can take a run-first offense with this quarterback in a quarterback's essentially rookie year. I can take that for a 23-year-old quarterback. I couldn't take it if it was a 26, 27-year-old quarterback that already has a couple of years under his belt at the NFL level. We've seen quarterbacks in the past. Dare I say Vince Young? Oh, all Vince Young does is win. He didn't look that great, but they won. Oh, my God, Tim Tebow. They didn't look that great, but they won. And they won a playoff game, too, if I may remind you. And he was a first-round pick. So can Jalen Hurts rise above all that and continue to improve? And can it start in this game against Tampa Bay Buccaneers? We'll get Adam Kaplan's take on that in a second. But before we do that, I got one little take here that I want to share with you. Jonathan Gannon, Eagles defensive coordinator, is set to interview, according to Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, he is set to interview with the Denver Broncos for their head coaching job. Now, it's not a trade. Vic Fangio has already been fired, and Vic Fangio is a defensive coordinator, and he got a shot at being a head coach. I've always been a fan of his days with San Francisco. I think it was right after Chip Kelly, if I'm not mistaken. People were talking about Vic Fangio getting a job, or maybe it was right before Chip Kelly got hired here. People were talking about Vic Fangio coming here to be the head coach, as a matter of fact. He runs a 3-4 scheme. Pretty in love with that 3-4 scheme, so he's not budging off of that. I would still love to see Vic Fangio here. And I know a lot of people might say, oh, no, what about our personnel? Couple of things on the idea of Vic Fangio coming here. First off, Jonathan Gannon gone, Vic Fangio, Philadelphia. That's a good thing. I'm all for that. Well, what about the personnel? Since when are we protecting this personnel? Like all year long, we've been hearing about how terrible this defensive personnel is. I mean, Darius Slay, good. Steven Nelson, okay, good. Rodney McLeod, good. Like secondary, okay. Way to be, boys. Way to be. Anthony Harris, all right, way to be, boys. Linebackers, T.J. Edwards has been okay. All right, been rising. A couple of great games, a couple of great weeks, I should say. We can do that. All right, fine. Defensive line. Okay. This is the thing that's going to go on to the biggest change here. Defensive line. And linebackers, obviously, because you can need 4 of them. I think Josh Sweat is a freak athlete. I wouldn't mind seeing him standing up. Derek Barnett hasn't been that good as a defensive end anyway. Why not try him standing up? You've already had Fletcher Cox under Chip Kelly try to play in that 3-4 scheme. Why not try to go back to that a little bit? He's got the experience of doing that. You also have 11 draft picks in a very defensive-heavy draft. You have 3 first-round draft picks. And let's not act like this 4-3 scheme has really done us any favors as of late. So why not go for an overall defensive philosophy change and bring in a guy like Vic Fangio, who now has the experience of being a head coach that can also help out a guy like Nick Sirianni continue to grow as a head coach in the NFL. I would not be opposed to it. Oh, the personnel. Oh, now we're defending the personnel. How about that? If you're going to make a change, this wouldn't be a bad time to do it. Bring in a guy experienced like Vic Fangio, change over your defensive scheme. You have 11 first-round draft picks. You have 3 first-round picks. This would be the time to do it. And I also think you have a very athletic defensive end that could play that linebacker position in Josh Sweat already. Also, you already have Connor Barwin with the organization. He's a guy that went from, 3-4 to 4-3 to 3-4. And then 4-3 again when he went to the Giants. Not back to the Giants, but to the Giants. Make him a coach. Put him on the sidelines. Make him a coach. Help these guys out with the transition. He's done it enough times in his career. This is a little side caveat there. Again, this isn't something I'm betting, as I said at the start of the show. I'm not betting on this to happen. It's probably not going to happen, but I wouldn't mind if it happens. And I know some people were calling that out right away. Oh, 3-4 scheme. I'm fine with that. Well, I'm all for it. And by the way, remember that Billy Davis fellow that was defensive coordinator here for the 3 years under Chip Kelly? Here's the thing. If they could make the playoffs with Billy Davis as their defensive coordinator, and I know Chip Kelly's offense was great at that time, but if they could make the playoffs with Billy Davis in 1 year of transitioning from the 4-3 to the 3-4, I'm pretty sure they could do that with Vic Fangio calling the shots as well. Just as an aside. Let me tell you, before we get to our friend Adam Kaplan there, let me tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right on Jewelers Row in Philadelphia. Steven's been in the love business for 40 years in Philadelphia, helping people fall in love and helping people get engaged. The Ready for Love diamond engagement rings are standing by at the ready at Steven Singer Jewelers. So when you walk in, I want to get engaged, right this way, boom, open it up right there in front of you. You go through it. And it's great. All very cost-effective, I might add, at the perfect price at Steven Singer Jewelers. If you want to look into something a little bit more extravagant, oh boy, do they have that as well. I know that from experience. But they have everything you need there at Steven Singer Jewelers. And here's the best part about it. Not only do you get the obvious, not only do you get the high-quality, beautiful diamond engagement ring, but you also get it at the perfect price. You get treated like your family. You don't have to worry about the pressure, the haggling, the negotiating. No, nothing like that. You don't have to worry about if the person next to you is paying more than you or less than you. You just get taken care of because they're getting the perfect price just like you are. Right now, go to IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Check out their beautiful inventory. Go down to the store at the other corner of 8th and Walnut and see for yourself why I'm always raving about this place and see why other jewelers hate this guy so much. And the guys that are looking to get engaged, I hate Steven Singer. You know why they hate him? He doesn't mark things up. That's why jewelers hate him. And you know what? He also makes it so damn easy to buy a diamond. That's why people say, I hate Steven Singer. I hate StevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. All right, without further ado, let's jump on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line and talk to our good friend Adam Kaplan about all things Philadelphia Eagles. On the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line from inside the Birds, NFL insider, the one, the only Mr. Adam Kaplan. What's going on there, Adam?
Marc, good to talk to you this fine day and getting ready for what should be an interesting weekend, what we call the super wild card weekend of the National Football League.
Really, it really is crazy with the extra game during the season, extra playoff team that they added last year and kept it this year. Of course, one bye for one team this year. It's insane what the NFL has done this season. But what is on top of all of that and on top of all of our minds right now, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff in Tampa. Do they have a chance, Adam? Do they have a chance against Tom Brady and Tampa?
Sure. They okay. I don't want to say they have to play the perfect game, but it's going to have to be close to it because they're the defending Super Bowl champions. They brought back every starter, which typically does not happen, but they made a decision to run it back. The Bucs changed the way they did contracts just to accommodate a lot of the veterans to bring them back. And look, the Eagles got smoked at home. They don't let the score fool you. They're down 28-7 at one point. They made the game closer. The points closer than really the game was for three quarters. They made it 28-22 or something like that. If I recall correctly, they were down 28-7 at one point. But they're a better team than they were then. And the Bucs still have one of the best run defenses. And we know the Eagles, Marc, really since that time, it was really the game after that, the game against the Raiders, that they completely changed their philosophy on offense, and now they're running offense instead of passing offense.
Now, when you look at this season, one of the things I was saying on yesterday's show was the most pleasant surprise from this season was Nick Sirianni. Like in terms of what we thought we were getting here as the Eagles head coach, from his introductory press conference to how he started calling plays to the rock, paper, scissors to the flowers, the whole thing. Yeah. What has been, in your mind, the most pleasant surprise about this Eagles season?
Yeah, because I knew guys who coached with him, and I don't know Sirianni personally. I've been in front of him. The opening press conference, I don't overreact like a lot of the media does because, I do this for a living, so I kind of know. I had intel on the guy. I know he's a super high-energy guy. Two coaches that I really know well gave me great information on the guy. So he's been, from a performance standpoint, in terms of energy, and he coaches his coaches, and he's a tireless worker. There's a lot to like about him, but there's a saying in the National Football League, Marc, is you don't know till you get there. You really don't know how the guy's going to be in terms of day-to-day. How does he deal with adversity when they're 2-5? I didn't think they'd turn the season around. I'm not going to lie. I picked them. I do what's called a win range for every NFL team. I give the Eagles 7-8. They surpassed that by one. They have 9 wins, and obviously the Dallas game they didn't care about. They didn't care about the 6th seed, so they took that as a preseason game. But overall, they've been better than expected. Sirianni's been a little bit better than I thought because you don't know until they have adversity. When they're in 2-5, and the flowering comment and all that. Look, I kind of laughed like most of the people did, but I got what he meant. You're planting the seeds. You're just hoping over time this is what we're going to be. But just to summarize what you asked, there's really no way to know that they'd be able to turn the team around, and that they become a running offense. There was nothing to suggest that they would do that. Now, I know other people would say, well, why didn't they do this in the beginning? Only the head coach can understand that or speak about it. But the fact that he did it, they've been so good at it, is pretty remarkable.
Mm-hmm. Will they be able to do it against a team like the Bucs?
They'll try because they're not gonna get in a throwing match unless they have to. You wouldn't want to do that against Brady. Now the Bucs will come out passing because that's what they do. Now it would help if they have Miles Sanders. We'll see. I'd still put him in the questionable category right now. I know the Eagles are hopeful and somewhat optimistic, but until he practices and gets cleared for contact, we're not going to know. Now, they return to practice on Wednesday. They'll practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, walk through, then fly to Tampa Bay in the afternoon. Hopefully, he gets cleared to play because they need him in a big way. He's their best running back by far. He is the most explosive back that they have, and they have to have him to have a chance to win. I know this is a little bit bold to say this. If he doesn't play, they're not going to win. They're not going to have a chance to win. They won't be able to move the ball as well as they could on the ground. Now, because they're so good at running it and they're committed to it, they'll be able to do some things to take away the ball from Brady, but he's going to get the ball. And when he gets the ball, the Eagles have to at least try to stop him a little bit better than they did in the first matchup.
What about Jordan Howard, do you think? You think he'll play on Sunday?
He's another one. He's got to get cleared. Remember now, he's got the 2 injuries. The one is the shoulder. Now, he should play because he played with it, and he had the sprained knee. I don't believe the sprained knee is much of a big deal as it was before. And now he's had 2 weeks off here. We'll have almost 2 weeks off. The good thing is that they kind of know who he is. They know what his role will be. If Sanders plays, he won't have to have the major role that he had before when Sanders hasn't been there. But the fact of the matter is, if they could have all these guys working here, it's going to be something else. I mean, they know they can run the football, Mark. There's no question about it. Though, again, the Bucs have a top 3 run defense against opposing running backs. But, again, the Eagles have run against everybody. It's not like they can't do it. So, and I'm sure they're going to try.
All right. Let me switch gears for a second here. I'll ask you about Jalen Hurts a little bit later. But there's some news about Jonathan Gannon potentially talking to the Denver Broncos as a head coaching candidate. What are you making of that news that came out from the NFL Network?
Yeah, no, I was expecting him to be interviewing with George Payton, the GM. Why? The 2 of them were together with the Vikings. This was not a surprise. Gannon, despite what some of the fans think, and I've been critical, Jeff Mosher's critical. We have been on Inside the Birds. The guy's a talented coach. He was coming in as one of those hot head coaching candidates for the future. He's going to get this interview. At some point, he'll do it. He's highly thought of around the league. I still have my questions with him as a defensive coordinator. But you know what? Their defense turned around the season. They're not, they're a competitive defense. I know that their schedule has been great. It's lined up pretty well for them. And their points against are great. Jim Schwartz used to talk about it a lot. You always talk about, okay, how many points are we giving up per game? And that's key. But now we're facing the best of all time in Tom Brady. So we'll see how the Eagles do against Brady and how Gannon calls this game this Sunday.
If that does happen, if Jonathan Gannon goes out there to Denver, and I know this isn't a trade, and I know the guy's already been fired, but what would you think of Vic Fangio coming here to Philadelphia as the DC?
Well, the Eagles are running a hybrid defense. Their base technically is a 43, but they run a lot of 34, and they change a lot. The defense would have to change. You wouldn't have the right personnel. He runs a strictly old school 34. He is going to be just as Brian Flores will be. Vic Fangio, if he wants to still coach, will be a highly coveted defensive coordinator. I remember talking to the Bears right before he got the Broncos head coaching job. They love him. That one Bears source called him a savant, special. You're talking about one of the legendary defensive coordinators in NFL history. In fact, a lot of people don't know this. He was with the Philadelphia Stars staff in the mid 80s, that USFL team.
Really? What, Jim Mora Sr. and those guys?
Yes, he worked under as a young assistant. He was on at least one of the years he was on Moore's staff there.
Wow. Okay. Well, I did not know that. Include me in one of the many people that did not know that. By the way, you guys can consume the latest episode of Inside the Birds with Adam Kaplan and Jeff Mosher wherever you get your podcast. The episode is hot and it's out there right now. To flip it back to this modern day Eagles team, Jalen Hurts. How much has he climbed the mountain for you as looking at him as either a starting quarterback in the NFL or a franchise quarterback from next year and on? What is Jalen Hurts to you right now? Yeah, the franchise quarterback doesn't play in the equation. Neither the Eagles know that. They're not looking at him as a franchise quarterback. What they're looking at, or at least hope, is he could at least be in the conversation to be the quarterback in 22. That's where we're at here. He's shown flashes. He had a great game against the Cardinals last year when he brought them back after taking that safety. The reason why the Eagles lost it wasn't because of Hurts. He played actually really well after that first tough series. It's because their defense didn't stop the Cardinals. You see flashes. The Denver game, he was terrific. He's had a couple great games here and that were above average. Then he had some clunkers. The last Giants game, the first half of that was bad, better in the second half. The first Giants game, the second half of the second game was better. The first Giants game was horrific. They shouldn't have lost that game, but they did, 14-7. But, overall, he's shown flashes. He has to be more consistent. Okay.
Now, one thing I would tell you, and this was actually my friend Greg Cosell brought it up on our pregame show with Jason Avant, Mosher, and I last week. He's like, you can't, it was one game. Let's say Hurts is terrible in this game against the Bucs. If you thought Jalen Hurts should be in the conversation to be the starter next season, are you going to say now he's not because he had a bad game against the Bucs? I would say no. You have to take. It's part of his evaluation. Now, consequently, if he plays great and they somehow win, do you change your mind? I mean, you have to put it in proper perspective. One thing we don't do on Inside the Birds is we never overreact to one game. It's bad or good and say, okay, he's not the guy anymore, or he is the guy. It's over a series of games that's exactly how the Eagles will evaluate him.
May I suggest just overreact once? It's a lot of fun. I do it all the time. You're going to be going out to the Senior Bowl in not too long. You're going to be looking at a lot of the guys that are going to be coming in. Does anybody in that class, in that draft class, do you think, is anyone a legit threat to take Jalen Hurts' spot just from the draft class, not free agency and all the names that are out there in free agency or maybe available via trade? But do you see anyone in this draft class that would be a threat to Hurts next year?
Well, again, it's depending on what the Eagles decide to do. And I strongly believe if they don't trade for quarterback or they don't sign a veteran that they'll draft a quarterback. I'm not saying it's going to be in the first round. They're not there yet on their decisions on the quarterback yet. So they'll do that once their season's over. Sirianni will sit down with them. I know he talks to them all the time, the front office, but there are bigger personnel meetings when the coaches get involved when their season's over. This happens in every NFL building. And then they have to have hard opinions on where they think the quarterback position's at. But with the Senior Bowl, Kenny Pickett, who I was told he's good. The last I had heard he was going to go to the Senior Bowl. He is regarded as the best quarterback for this class. He should go somewhere in the middle of the first round right now. Now, he could go in the top 10 if he has a great week. Again, if he's still going to the Senior Bowl, he would be the guy that could potentially be an Eagles draft pick. He'd fit. He's good, pretty good athlete, good size, good arm, high character kid. He'd fit in real well. And by the way, he grew up as an Eagles fan.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. Okay. All right. When it comes to the front office and what they plan to do with these 3 first-round picks, do you think that they're leaning quarterback? Do you think that you're going to use one of those picks at that position, or is that still, you said, to be decided?
Yeah, 2 to be determined. They don't know yet. It's okay. They can't really do anything until the coaches are done. Like, they can have their opinions. Mm-hmm. They'll have personnel meetings in January once the Eagles are done, assuming they're done in January. I think we would be. Yeah, but would assume, but you never know.
Right.
2017 to start that season. But moving forward here, it's going to come down to where they're at with Hurts again, what they identify as their needs. We know what their needs are. Wide receiver, they have to do something significant at wide receiver. Again, they're going to have to do something, whether it's in free agency at the draft. They'll have to do at least something. One guy they got to add that's significant. They're going to need to add defensive linemen because they got a lot of guys' contracts are up at DN. They need help there. They need depth on the D-line. Fletcher Cox is getting older. Not that they're going to spend a first-round pick on a linebacker. They certainly wouldn't do that. But they need an upgrade at linebacker. They need corners. They need help. I mean, that's what makes it, Marc, so remarkable that they're making the playoffs, because not only did I not believe this would happen, at 9-8, they're a little bit above average, I think, if we're being fair here, with some upside. But the reality is, and I know talking to the Eagles, they know who they are. This is not, they don't think they're like a Super Bowl team right now. Now, could they shock the world? Mm-hmm. Sure. But the reality is they need a lot of help here.
Certainly. Do you think that they'll use all 3 first-round picks, or do you think they're going to trade one?
No idea. I mean, Marc, again, we're not even at the Senior Bowl yet. We're in January on the playoffs. But I would say this, though, on your question. Because of where the unique situation where they are, the Dolphins were not as bad as we thought. They fired their head coach, but they're 9-8. The Colts are, well, obviously they ended their season badly. Eagles love that, but Eagles fans love that. But their picks are somewhere in the middle of the first round, so they could use them to move up. Certainly, if there's a player that they deem, like, it could be a corner, it could be a D end, who knows? Because, by the way, the underclassmen declare this week, so we'll know more about the underclassmen. But I wouldn't rule out anything, because the great thing about having these 3 first-round picks, there's a lot of maneuverability available to them.
Understood. Adam, before we close this out, I have to ask you the question that we always ask. I always like to get in here, is the Ben Simmons situation. Where's he going? Yeah. When is he going there? What is happening here?
I wish I knew, man. I give Daryl Morey credit in this. As he said, and before the season started, he wasn't going to give him away. He wasn't going to take a bunch of role players. I respect that. I'm past the point of frustrated. I'm kind of like resigned to the fact that this could take all year. You see every rumor. My friend Marc Stein, who I used to work with at ESPN, had a report I think he put out about it might have been the Hawks might have some interest or something like that. But in the end, when he gets traded, whoever that is, whatever month that is, whatever year that is, I just hope they get big-time players in return, because I would hate for Joel Embiid to end his career without a championship. With his injury history, Mark, the clock is ticking, and I think that Daryl Morey needs to understand that.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you there 100%. I do want to circle back to one thing. You mentioned Carson Wentz. Is he just a guy that can't get out of his own way? That superhuman gene, whatever, the superhero gene, where he just thinks he can make a play on any given play, no play's dead? Like, why can't he get back to the point that he was at in 2017?
I would say this, though. Up till the last couple of weeks ago, he's had a pretty solid season now for a while, because Jonathan Taylor had been so good they weren't asking him to throw very much. But I don't know if you remember the Monday night game at Baltimore. He and Lamar Jackson had one of the best games I've ever seen. If you thought the Sunday night game, and it was great, Derek Carr and particularly Justin Herbert were great, that was one of the best regular season games. Wentz, where he put the team on his back for over 400 yards against Lamar Jackson. That was such an awesome game. I mean, I don't know if I call Wentz the comeback player of the year, because the way the season ended. So I probably won't do that. I have to vote in two polls. One of them for the Pro Football Writers Association. But I definitely want to say he improved over last year. I think that's obvious. But the Colts, look, by contract, they can't cut him. The question is, would they look to move him after the way he ended the season? To me, it's such a year, Mark, at quarterback. I'm already doing work on it. I've got 10 to 12 teams that don't know who the starting quarterback is going to be for 2022. The Colts have to be careful here. And this is not a great year for the draft, at least on paper, for the early word that I've gotten. Though we may see 4 to 6 quarterbacks go in the first 50 picks, it doesn't mean they're great.
Right.
As we learned with Mitch Trubisky and others, the quarterback and Mark Sanchez, they get overdrafted. Mm-hmm. So this is not a great year to need a quarterback, and you got to be careful. I think that's the thing. It's like fans want this quarterback out, that quarterback out. Well, it's great to say that, but let me know who you think you're going to be able to get.
His name is Adam Kaplan, ladies and gentlemen. Check him out with Jeff Mosher on Inside the Birds podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, you guys do a phenomenal pregame show as well as part of the Inside the Birds network. Mosher referred to it once on this show as the Empire, the Inside the Birds Empire. And I think I like that. I like you guys being emperors. That's a nice thought.
Well, we've got a YouTube channel, Facebook page. We've got the Sunday pregame show with myself, Mosher, Greg Cosell, and Jason Avant. The fans are like in love with Greg and Jason. They just think they're like the best thing ever. We are too. They're just phenomenal. And as our motto at Inside the Birds, if you don't learn something watching, then we're not doing our job. And apparently by the comments, we're doing a good job. We appreciate it. All the support. We appreciate your support, Mark, as well.
Of course. You guys are great. Appreciate it every time you guys come on the show, no matter how short notice it is.
It's all good, man.
My man. Adam, thank you so much. Safe travels to you. I know you're going to be bouncing all over the place, my friend. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Adam Kaplan joining us here on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Adam Kaplan, the great Adam Kaplan, joining us there on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Always great catching up with him. And yes, he's going out to the Senior Bowl, Super Bowl. If it's a bowl, he's probably there. You know what I'm saying? Just appreciate him jumping on there. So he's not so keen on the Vic Fangio idea. But I don't know if anyone on the planet can explain the Carson Wentz fiasco. It really, I always, and even when he was here in Philadelphia, a lot of people describe it as that Superman gene. Oh, no, I can make a play happen. No, just watch this. I'm going to make a play happen. And he had that really rough game against Tennessee where he was playing great, really, for the vast majority of that game. And they were on the road. But then he tried to force a pass. It got intercepted. He tried to force another pass or try to extend a play, ended up fumbling. And then he threw another interception in overtime into triple coverage. And it's just something that he needs. I think Carson Wentz can get back to being a great quarterback if he gets out of his own way. But the real thing is here, I don't really care from this point on, because from this point on, he's got no effect on the Eagles whatsoever. Maybe the Giants will trade for him at some point, and maybe he'll become the Giants quarterback. I don't know. I doubt it. But gave the Eagles a top 16 draft pick for A, playing in that many games, and B, being that bad. So all is right with me as far as Carson Wentz goes in his relationship to the Philadelphia Eagles. And the $34 million, that cap hit in itself, that dead cap number is dead after this year. Well, it's dead already because they're not carrying in the next year. After this, Carson Wentz comes off the books, which is also pleasant to see. Wow, Carson Wentz off the books after 1 year, a retooling year, and you get a first-round pick for him. Got to give Howie credit for that one. Thanks again to Adam Kaplan. Let me tell you about the people of Rothman Orthopaedics, ladies and gentlemen. Told you I went there for my shoulder. Turns out it was a pinched nerve. Turns out a couple of weeks later, after some physical therapy, after doing some exercises, and a medieval device they told me to purchase off Amazon, I'm good to go, ladies and gentlemen. I kid you not. Rothman Orthopaedics. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them in one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. If you want to get the advantage over your sportsbook, you need to use BetQL. Download the BetQL app, the only app you'll need to make the smart bets. Their best bets computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports. And they give you the reasoning behind why you should place that bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, player prop bets. If you don't want to use their model and prefer to do your own research, BetQL is all the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news, even a leaderboard for you to track your own success. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store now to download the BetQL app. A lot of things happening in Philadelphia sports. Some Ben Simmons news we're about to get to in our morning rush. A little bit of an update. A name was mentioned on a return for Ben Simmons. Hope you're following all the stories on PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. How about WinView? Download the WinView app. It is it's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app where you could challenge other fans on betting games that you can make predictions on yourself. It's fantastic. It's for the fans, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you download the WinView app. It's the only place where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who knows more about sports? You, your family member, your friend, so-called friend? Right now, playoffs going on in the NFL. NBA, obviously, all rocking right now. So make sure you challenge a friend to a WinView contest and see if you can win real money prizes on the games that you love so much with WinView. So download the WinView app right now. Again, not a sports book, not daily fantasy, a social gaming app where you can win real money prizes for making predictions on the games that you love so much. Let's jump into our chat check, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's favorite part of the morning here. Sean leads us off. Good morning, Sean. Brian, good morning. Dan Schwartz, good morning, people. That's 7 in a row for the 76ers. Yes, overall, Sixers have won 7 in a row. Don't care much about Georgia. I don't care about Georgia. I don't really care about Alabama, to be honest with you. I don't really care about winning a bet. I'm not the biggest college football fan in the world last night, but last night I was. So there you go. And Stetson Bennett, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that, let's see, my daughter's named Lil Toots. She's named Emanuela. Her name is Emanuela. You can't have Emanuela and a Stetson. You know what I'm saying? So I'll tell you, the name of my kid ain't going to be Stetson. But hey, we're only a couple of maybe moments away from that trip. Anyway, James, what's up? Good morning. JD, what's going on? Matt, good morning. I read something yesterday that said Sixers are hoping to get the treasure back soon. Yeah. Matt Snell, Farzy is feeling himself this morning with all those missed buttons. Really? That's just my normal. It's my normal, right? I just got the 2 that's done. Got 2 done. I thought when you said when the way you put it, Matt, was like I went 3 buttons. It's a kids program. It's a children's show too. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that. 3 buttons. It's like you're on Cinemax or something. Let's not get crazy. JD, what's going on? Different team than us. Wait, we are a different team than nuts. Oh, we were a different team then. There you go, JD. Thank you. My bad. I'm an idiot. JD, Zach Ertz's last Eagles game. That was Zach Ertz's last Eagles game. He had a touchdown in that game. And also keep in mind, Dallas Goedert did not play in that game as well. John Cheeseborough, good morning. James, what's going on? If I could, would you? What's going on? Cody, what's happening? John Cheeseborough, Tampa struggled against Washington, the Jets, and the Saints. All fine points. Like I said, beatable team. They're not invincible. Eagles just might go down there and shock the world. Are we getting requests now for J.J. Arthega-Whiteside to do J-Jaw-isms. Dan, that is a reference. Any chance the Eagles pull a Tanya Harding incident on Tom Brady? Just wondering. No, I don't think that's happening. James, can't stop thinking about Farzy and naked John Dorenbos. Just talking, by the way. Again, John's a funny guy. John's a goofy guy. As you guys well know, that's all John. I live by my motto, my creed, if I have one, which is don't talk to naked dudes. Whether that be in the workplace, that sounds weird for if you don't know the context, whether that be in the locker room or whether that be in life. I tend to avoid conversation. I'll tell you this much, and I've talked about this before, but I will not have a conversation in the men's room. If you're in line, like at a sporting event, and you go to the bathroom, right, and like it's like you and your buddy, you happen to go at the same time, not arranged like the ladies like to do, but if you go to the bathroom at the same time, I'll have a conversation walking up. But once you're at the urinal, silence. Back when I used to go into an office, like a work setting, if I was at the urinal and somebody came in and they're like, "Oh, hey, Marc, what's going on, man?" and they're trying to talk to me, and they come to the urinal next to me, there's no talk, there's no talking, no, there's no conversation. And then some people will chat it up like the talk shows in the bathroom. No, I don't even talk then. All right, pretty much how I live my life. These are my rules. But anyway, James, sorry you can't stop thinking about that. I hope you're not losing sleep over it. John Cheesebro, can somebody make sure Brady is somehow the last one to leave the locker room, and on his way out, give him the Charlie Murphy to Rick James karate kick and lock him in the locker room? I'm Nick Sirianni, bitch. Boom. And then kicks him and he falls back. Yeah. One of the most underrated lines about that sketch is that he's got slapped. Like, you can't slap another man. Charlie Murphy's telling the story about Rick James. You can't slap another man. Like, back in the day, like, after that, one person had to go. That's a very underrated line from that scene. Asking for a friend, laugh my ass off. JD, Matt, Ian. What's going on, Ian? April. Good morning, April. Farzy has a wallet size of it. What are we talking about? Let's see. Oh, sounds like a okay. All right, I think I'm following here. JD wants the Rick James slap or whatever you want to call it to happen to Tom Brady. John Cheesebro saying asking for a friend. You're assigning Dan Schwartz to do it. Okay. JC on fire this morning, and I wouldn't have it any other way. JC's always on fire. When is he not? Dan Schwartz. John Dorenbos just snaps his free to magically remove his clothes. Fingers? That's supposed to be fingers? John Dorenbos snaps his fingers to magically remove his clothes. It's part of his act. I'll email that to John. The naked magician. Why not? John Cheesebro, JD. I'd say it's more likely that the Eagles bring back Nick Foles for the 37th time. No chance the Eagles take the biggest dead money cap hit ever just to bring him back. Plus, he doesn't want to be here. Yeah, I saw that earlier. I kind of glossed over it. I do not see that happening. I haven't even heard of that happening. I haven't read any report that says the Eagles will bring back Carson Wentz. I think if the Eagles do that, you might as well just light yourself on fire. I just think that is ridiculous. That just is awful. Farzy has a wallet size of it. What do I have a wallet size of? I'm missing it here. What? I don't even want to talk about it. But gentlemen and ladies, Buddy T-Mac, what's up? We are 1 month and change away from Valentine's Day. You got two choices. One, get your gift and reservations now, or two, start thinking of excuses as to why you didn't. Buddy, good looking out. Just go to I Hate Steven Singer, IHateStevenSinger.com. John Cheesebro, fat guy snack idea. I went to the pretzel factory yesterday, got the rivets with the buttercream dip. Okay. I got a fat guy suggestion for you, and I know this because my wife is like 14 months pregnant. You ever have a peanut butter burrito? Tortilla, okay? Little dab of peanut butter. Put it in the oven, or the toaster oven, preferably. Microwave, not so much. Put it in the oven at like 300, 400 degrees for just like a minute or two till that peanut butter starts to run a little bit. Pull that out of the oven. Little jelly on top. I prefer Ritz crackers, or you can even do pretzels. Hey, roll that up. Oh, mwah! Delicious. You want a fat guy snack? That's a fat guy snack for you right there. I like to do that right after I have my big Buford burger from Checkers. Anyway. Farzy will drive you to Denver and get blitzed with you. What's up, Luigi? Good morning. If you do go to Denver, oh, damn it. What's the name of that cigar shop? Palm? Anyway, it's in downtown Denver, and it's fantastic. It's a great cigar bar. They have an espresso machine there, a Lavazza espresso machine, that I'll just say this real quick. I went there once. I was trying to kill time. I was the first person in Denver for a bachelor party I was going to a couple years ago, and I was the first one in there. I was like, oh, let me just find a cigar bar. I'll have a cigar, kill some time. And I did just that. But the Lavazza espresso machine behind the bar. And the nice lady, so pleasant, nice young lady, she goes, I go, hey, is that an espresso machine work? And it was one of these. She goes, I think so. And I'm like, oh, how long have you been working here? She's like, about 4 years. I'm like, oh, and you've never used the espresso machine? She goes, no. And I go, I'll walk you through the process. And she made me an espresso. The first one tasted like dust because it hadn't been used. Because I was like, wait, is this an antique or should I not be drinking this or whatever? And then the second one was, fantastic. So good. So good. But anyway, Denver, the Palms, I want to say. Cigar bar, if you're out there. It's a great time. Because I don't smoke of the weed. I smoke of the cigar. That was a side note. Mac, good morning. Random Aton, Gannon, bye. Yeah, I'm not afraid to say goodbye to that man. Yes, Flores firing was shocking. If that really was for Deshaun Watson, because apparently Brian Flores didn't want Deshaun Watson. Now that Brian Flores is out despite winning 8 of their last 9 games, they fire that guy. Okay, they're tons of fun. Anyway, the Dolphins really know what they're doing. If that was for Deshaun Watson, that franchise is so screwed. Amoeba defense. Wow. Random Aton. That is a random. I haven't heard of amoeba defense in a while. Chris Collinsworth was big and this is that. Now here's a defense that's an amoeba defense. He was big into that amoeba thing for a while because that was all the rage. That NASCAR package defense, all that stuff. All that Predator. That was a big thing in the NFL for a while. In fact, there's no real John Cheeseborough. In fact, there's no real reason to use a 4-3 or 3-4 anyway, because teams don't use base defenses much more anymore. That's very true. Cap Daddy, buddy, very funny. Big nickel, as in weed. A big nickel has weed connotations. If I could, would you? Yes, it does. All right. I blacked out for a second. Flower season. Mac, very nice. Rocco, what's going on? Rocco, is that a real thing? National Step in a Puddle and Splash Your Friends Day? Okay. I think we've come far enough with the days. Random Aton, then straight to Frozen Tundra. Let's go, man. Let's party. I want to play tic-tac-toe on Farzi's shirt. I just appreciate you guys noticing it's a different shirt. Thank you. Different shirt today. Like I've worn it before, just not. Usually it's just a blue shirt. Philadelphia Stars. Wow, that's it. How about that for a poll? Rocco, are you stoned right now? Yes. By the way, it would be a game that will last all day on Farzi's shirt. With all due respect, Mark. Yeah. No disrespect taken. As long as I'm not wearing the shirt when you're playing on it, and I'm wearing a different shirt and preferably in another room. Rocco's shirt looks like it was made for Battleship. Very nice, John. Phil, good morning. Am I getting Al? Good morning, Mike. Okay, I didn't think Farzy actually smoked until the nickel reaction. Dude definitely blazes on the reg. That is. For those that are new to the chat, Craig, welcome in. Shocker, Farzy went to Denver early. Again, for those that are newer to the chat, my roommates in college were all stoners, not potheads, stoners, and never smoked. I never smoked. One time when I was in Amsterdam, and I know that's like the classic line. Oh, when I was in Amsterdam. Whatever. I don't do well on that stuff. Let's just say that. Drinking game, whatever college was. Now here's a guy. That's a great one. Ronnie, what's up, Ronnie? Every weekend is the national get high too far as the show day. Okay. Your poor college roommates, they get thrown under the bus at least once per week. That's not throwing them under the bus. They're wonderful people. I'll give you their nicknames, Osco and Pooter. Those were their nicknames. There you go. There was one more I was gonna try to get to here. Was it April? I thought it was April. Gabe, good morning. April, did you have something on an air fryer? April, put a Crustable in the air fryer, game changer. What? Done. It's funny you say that, April, because Uncrustable, for those that don't know, the Uncrustables are the peanut butter and jelly. They also have like a Nutella one as well that'll also blow your damn mind. But it's no crust, okay? It's not just a clever name. But anyway, the kids love them, and we used to go through them all the time, and then I started eating them, and my wife's like, we're going to stop buying this. Okay, so put it in the air fryer. April, done. I'll do that. Well, the Uncrustable I just saw back at the house for the first time in like a year, I feel like. So done. I'll report back to you maybe tomorrow if we have any more in the house. If my kid didn't already crush them all. Mike Casey. Watch. College roommates are doctors saving the world. And here we got Farzy talking about naked John Dorenbos at 6 a.m. Oh, Ronnie, I see what you're saying. Every weekday is National Get High to Farzy show. Stupid talk to text, laugh out loud. I got what you're saying right now. Mike, obviously Farzy is the winner here. Yeah, right. Thanks to everyone who participated in the chat. You guys are fantastic as per usual. Let me get into this for a second here. So Alabama won the national championship. And here is Nakobe Dean, who's going to be a first-round draft pick, hopefully in the Eagles. He's posing after the game. You notice anything wrong here? Pointed out by Bleacher Report. He's wearing an Alabama national champion hat. You had one job. Run the box of hats and oversized T-shirts to the middle of the field that say Georgia on them. You had one job. And you deliver the one that says Alabama? Damn it. Feel like Forrest Gump. Alabama. What does his hat say? Alabama. Anyway, so poor kid. Well, he's won a national championship despite the stupid hat. Folks, rough year. And I don't mean the year 2022. I mean the end of 2021 and beginning of 2022. You guys know, as a huge Norm Macdonald fan, he passes away. My good friend, man I love, Big Daddy Graham, passed away. Locally here in Philadelphia, we love the guy. Betty White passes away. I have said forever, Golden Girls is the greatest written show in the history of television. Greatest written show in the history of television, Golden Girls. Because those women memorized their lines, delivered them like poetry. There didn't ad lib. It was just deliver the line. Phenomenal. Just phenomenally written program. Betty White, as many people have stated, and it couldn't be more true, became America's grandmother. She hosted Saturday Night Live. She rocked it. She was amazing. We lost Betty White a week ago. Bob Saget, great friend of Norm Macdonald, directed him in Dirty Work, one of my favorite all-time movies. We all know his role in Half Baked. I believe he directed Half Baked as well. He passes away at the age of 65. They found him in a hotel room. The one report, look, I don't want to speculate anything, but no, they didn't find drugs in the room or anything like that. Just tragic that he passed away at the age of 65. Lane Johnson. I know a lot of people didn't realize that Bob Saget was from Philadelphia, but how about this? Lane Johnson. Rest in peace to Bob Saget. Proud to call you a friend, one of the greatest comedians ever, and a Philly legend. Lane Johnson putting that out 2 days ago. What I thought was a class move by Lane to just say, farewell to a friend. And I didn't realize they were friends, but how about that? And Temple University graduate, Abington High School. I probably would have been an Abington High School kid if we didn't move out of Ambler when I was like 4. Yeah, I really enjoyed Bob Saget's work. Look, I grew up on TGI Fridays, right? Not TGI Friday, but thank God it's Friday. TGIF with Perfect Strangers, Family Matters, Full House, obviously. Step by Step somebody referenced Step by Step the other day. And then I got older, and I always heard, because my brother and I were always and still are really big fans of like stand-up comics and all that stuff. But I heard somebody told me that Bob Saget was the dirtiest comedian ever. And I'm like, Bob Saget, Danny Tanner, what? And then I watched a little movie called The Aristocrats. Not The Aristocats, Disney. The Aristocats. Jesus, damn. The Aristocrats. The Aristocrat joke, which is the dirtiest, most vile, could never say into the microphone ever in the history of anything. Could never say it. Because the Aristocrat joke is the basic setup is a man walks into a talent agency and says, I got this great act. You're going to love it. Talent agent says, well, what's the act? And then the most horrific, vile, disgusting, cancel culture, thirsty things get said over a certain amount of time, which is up to the joke teller's discretion, at the joke teller's discretion. And then at the punchline of the joke is, oh, wow. So what do you call this act? The Aristocrats. And Bob Saget supposedly told and I heard it, it's the most vile, disgusting, offensive for those that look to be offended, disgusting joke you'd ever tell. And Bob Saget told apparently the best version. Danny flippin' Tanner told the best version of this joke. And all comedians bow down to his version of this joke, which is, if you get a chance to look it up, if you get a chance to watch the movie, check it out. I once was telling a friend about it. When I say friend, I use that term loosely. It was a guy I was working with, and who also he was a runner with NBC with me. This was like 10, 15 years ago. And he said, I heard about this movie, The Aristocrats. Apparently Bob Saget's in it. And I was like, oh, I just saw the movie. And he goes, tell me the joke. And I go, I can't do it justice. You have to see the movie. He goes, we had when you're a runner, it's hurry up and wait. So it's like you'll do something hardcore for like 20 minutes, and then you have 4 hours of just sitting around doing nothing. So we had time to kill. So I told the version of the joke as best I could, and the expression on the guy's face was, and now when I bump into this guy casually, and we both have kids now, he's always like, hey, do you tell your daughter the Aristocrats joke? And I'm like, no, I don't. But anyway, Bob Saget, if you get a chance to look it up, if you're not easily offended, definitely look up the joke. But tribute to Bob Saget, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, April saying that movie was amazing. You're damn right it was. Tribute to Bob Saget and all that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I can't say it enough. Dirty Work's one of my all-time favorite movies. Bob Saget was tremendous in remembering Norm Macdonald, and I know a lot of people around Hollywood and around this area, the Philadelphia area, the Temple community as well. Bob Saget was just back at Temple not too long ago, honoring the late great Lou Klein, who was instrumental in my career at Temple. Yeah, he'll be missed, obviously. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Try to line up a special guest, a first-time guest on this show, as a matter of fact, to help us preview Eagles, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Try to line him up for tomorrow. I'll announce that on Twitter, hopefully a little bit later in the day. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a phenomenal job. My name is Marc Farzy. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.